Sue, what's your family connection with Enfield Football Club?
Dave Jones, trainer and player for Enfield for 50 years.
Yeah.
I'm his daughter.
Okay. And Eileen?
And I'm the other daughter.
You know the connection with the football club?
The new Enfield FC my son played for, Bradley Poole.
Okay.
He was around at the beginning.
Sue, what's your earliest memories of Enfield Football Club?
Well, I was 4 years old. I used to go with Dad to every football match, home and away. Just good memories, really. Brilliant memories.
So you used to travel with the team on the coach?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Every game.
Every game?
Yeah.
And Eileen, how about you?
Well, I didn't go to games with Dad, but I remember when I was a little girl, Dad playing, and he used to sit me in the dressing room. But that wouldn't be allowed these days, but in those days it was.
So when you were young, how much time do you reckon you spent down the club?
I think I spent most of my...
I spent a lot of time there,
I
really.
was the boy he didn't have.
Yeah.
Had to be, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I spent a hell of a lot of time. Used to go on all the football tours, went on all the, yeah.
I got a bit more involved because when we had children, I ended up having two boys. Sue had a boy, so we then used to take the grandchildren over there, and that's really when I used to go over there an awful lot more.
Was football the dominant factor in your house?
Yes, definitely.
Weddings had to be
Yeah.
arranged around. We went to so many social functions without our dad, it was unbelievable. Or he used to turn up in the evening after football. Yeah.
So meals were organised around matches and things like that?
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. For how many seasons do you think you sort of travelled around with your dad?
Well, 4 up until I was probably 10 or 12. But he had a break in between when he went to Bishop's Stortford, and I travelled there with him as well.
And then
Go to all them games as well.
What brought a halt to that? Was it a case of you just grew out of football or just...
No, I think I probably was growing up and wanted to be a teacher. Well, I still went over there, because as I say, we still had a connection there, but just getting older, I suppose.
Yeah. And how did your mum get involved in the football side of things?
The only way Mum was involved, she did run the tea bar for a little while, and in the boardroom she used to make the tea and coffees. But she wasn't really into football, to be honest.
She repaired the kits.
Yeah.
She kept that football club going by changing numbers on shirts, repairing the kit when they didn't have a lot of money. Yeah.
Doing the laundry, did she have to do that as well?
Occasionally.
Occasionally, Dad usually did that. I mean, Dad's routine was that at those days they used to have a big bath, and all the dirty shirts and that were chucked in the bath, so all the mud came off. Then they were all bagged up and taken to a woman down the local laundrette.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think these days they have washing machines and things, but they didn't then.
Yeah. What did football mean to you, Dad?
Everything.
It was his life, really.
It was his life. Yeah, obviously at family as well, but football was his life. And then when the grandchildren come along, it was he taught them everything they knew about football.
Mm.
Yeah. And then they ended up going to every game as well. So.
Yeah.
Over the course of the week, how much time do you reckon he devoted to the football club?
I shouldn't think there was a day that went by that he didn't go over there.
He was fortunate he had the sort of job where he could nip away for a while, if you know what I mean.
Mm.
Yeah.
There wasn't a day where he didn't go over there.
Okay.
His car knew its way there without being driven, I think, didn't it?
And it was through him that he passed on his love of football to you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we didn't have a lot of choice.
No, just when our boys got into
When you
football,
had-
we got involved with it, and we just followed in his footsteps.
Enfield Football Club, that was a big part of your dad's life?
It was his life.
Yeah, definitely.
It was his life.
Because he played for a number of other clubs as well, but Enfield was the one that he
Enfield was
considered
his
to be
life.
his club.
Yeah.
And it was a social life as well, because particularly when they built the Starlight, it was, a social life as well.
And then I ended up working as receptionist in the Starlight as well. So
Yeah, it's a real
So
family concern.
yeah.
Did your dad have favourite players as such during his time? Particular ones that he used to comment about?
I would say myself, Stevie King was his favourite
Steve.
player.
Yeah.
From a personal
Friend
point of view,
and on the field, yeah.
Yeah.
He was involved in Sunday League football as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Waltham and District. Yeah. Yeah.
And quite a few of the players who played for Enfield also played for him
Yeah.
there as well.
I mean, going back, you've got the likes of obviously Johnny Payne and Joey Adams, and that sort of era was a good era for Dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they're still friends now.
Still,
a lot of them,
yeah.
So.
And what about you personally? Do you have favourite players when you used to watch them?
Joey Adams was my favourite player.
Any particular reason?
Just loved him. On and off the pitch, he was just brilliant.
What about you,
Yeah.
Eileen?
Difficult one, that. I'd probably say Stevie King, because I just thought he was a local man, and he was another one. He was a club player. He was and still is a very nice chap.
Yeah. What do you think your dad would have thought about the problems that the club had after he sadly passed away, losing the ground?
I think he would have been absolutely gutted. He was before he died. Yeah. It was his life, and it just sort of went. It was a shame. Terrible.
I think if he saw what's happened, what's been built on the football club, I think he'd turn in his grave, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It put a damper on me. I've only just started coming back over here because I know how Dad would have felt about it, to be honest. I mean, obviously Eileen was more involved because Bradley ended up playing, but it did put a bit of a... He wouldn't have liked what went on. That was his. It was his.
The only thing he would have liked is if they'd have come here straight away.
He'd like this setup, but he wouldn't have liked what's gone on now.
And you think you'd have approved of the fans setting up their own club and...
Yeah.
Oh,
he'd have been in with it.
Oh, he'd have been involved, definitely. Yeah.
But it was all the politics and the money and things. He couldn't. No.
If you could sum up in one sentence what the football club's meant to you, or even what's meant to your family, how would you do that?
Well, it's always been there.
It's been
really.
there, yeah.
It's always been in our life, yeah.
Yeah, and not just
know any
us.
different,
It's.
did
I mean, my son's 30 now, and he still talks about all the memories. And I mean, Dad was his, as my Ben would say, he was his legend. He was a legend, and and still to this day, even people that don't know he's passed away, still talk about him. We're quite popular in Enfield, and wherever you go, it's
people know the name.
People
Dave
know
Jones.
the name.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, always.
It
It's
was a
always
social
comes up in conversation somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I've been involved. I carried on being involved with men's football at White Webs as well, and obviously there were all the people there. So it just carried on, because people don't realise until you start to get into a conversation, and then they realise why I'm involved. It was involved a lot in football.
I think also years ago it was a bit more of a feature within Enfield. People knew a lot more about it, whereas now, non-league football is sort of like not known so well, which I think is a great shame, because that's the way that you should build up to football, but we're in a different world now.
Younger kids don't even know that clubs like this exist.
No.
Where it'd be a great way to foster their interest in the
definitely.
sport, wouldn't it?
Definitely, yeah.
When Enfield made their periodic trips to Wembley, obviously your dad would have been involved. And did you get any sort of preferential treatment on those times? Did you get behind the scenes?
We used to go on obviously we used to always go with the players' wives, on the players' wives coach.
Yeah.
Don't think we ever...
No.
No.
The security was
No, the
quite
security
tight,
was too...
And one occasion, I don't know whether it was 88 or 82, was when they had all the fencing up at Wembley, and you couldn't get onto the pitch.
We had to talk to Dad through the wire.
Yeah,
He used to come over to us, but we used to talk to him through that.
So
we always had a big flag so that when he came out, he knew where we were.
So there was no sort of VIP treatment or anything like that?
No. We was in the good seats with all the wives and that, but directors. I mean, we was always involved we was classed as part of the family.
But I don't think the wives and that ever went behind the scenes either,
No.
as far as I know.
Was there any memories of football in your house growing up?
Yes, my dad was involved. So when I was a little girl, he used to play for Enfield, and he used to take me along when I was little. Then I became a teenager and went out and enjoyed myself, and then I used to go when they had big games, and they used to go to Wembley and things, and we always used to hear about it when Dad came home. But then I had 2 boys, so my involvement started again because obviously they used to go to see their granddad at football, and he used to take them everywhere with him. So it sort of went full circle.
And was there any good or bad memories, like?
Well, you could always remember that if they won, he'd be happy.
Yeah.
And if they didn't win, the teacup would go across the table. He was not a happy man. So.
What does football mean to you?
Well,
So,
because
like,
I've always
could
grown
you sum it
with
up in 3 words?
Oh, sorry, I've always grown up with it, so I don't know any different really. It becomes your life, really.
Was there any racial abuse when you're playing?
Not that I can think of. I mean, obviously, there were players that probably had things directed at them, but I never experienced it myself. But I think it must have been going on. So.
And what was the best celebration you've seen from your dad or other players, like for the football, like the best ever celebration
Well,
you've seen?
when they won the FA trophy,
Oh yeah.
there was a lot of champagne drunk in the cup, and everybody had a great time. And we always used to go back to the club and have a party. So. And then the celebrations used to go on for a long time because in those days they used to have a bus and they used to take it round Enfield, and we'd go and see the mayor at the town hall as well. Same as the Premiership players do now. In those days, Enfield was a very big club in Enfield, and everybody came out on the streets and supported.
How did it affect your Saturdays?
Well, we just knew that Saturdays we'd never see our dad. He was never around, so if there was a family occasion or a wedding, he'd always turn up in the evening after football.
But couldn't you like go with him to watch like the match?
Yes, could if I wanted to. When I was younger I did, but obviously like when I got older and become a teenager, it wasn't the in thing for me then. But my involvement came again when I had boys.
And did you make friends like at the club, like the players and the trainers? And
Yes. Well, my dad was one of
yeah,
the trainers. And
like
obviously
all
we were
other
friendly
trainers
with the
and managers. Yeah.
And football is a very good socialiser. When you meet people in football, you stay friends with them probably for the rest of your life.
Okay.
Well, a lot of people do anyway.
As girls, were you also encouraged to play?
No, it wasn't a thing that girls did then. Girls played netball and hockey, and boys played football.
And did you travel much with the club?
I didn't so much. My sister did. She was a bit younger than me, and she used to go a lot with Dad. And they used to go on trips abroad, and she used to go on holidays and things as well.
Did you like football?
I suppose I never really known any different. Yeah, I still like it now. I mean, I just think it's because I'd grown up with it. I didn't really know any different. I used to actually go to your school. And at that time,
Kingsmead?
yes, I went to Kingsmead, and my 2 sons went to Kingsmead. And at that time, the science block, we could look out of the science block and see straight over the football. We used to watch them training and that as well.
Could you show us some of the
Stuff.
props in
Oh,
your
these
bag?
are just some old bits of my dad's. That's the programme from 1982. This is, let me show you which one's this. Now, these, you probably think these are a bit old-fashioned, but these were the tracksuits that they run out in 1982 as well.
Yeah, that's kind of the one that I have, like in my team as well.
Sponsored by the local paper.
Free local paper.
That's the, oh right, this is 1988. I mean, look how small they are as well. They're nothing like football kits are now. And this one's a bit leery. This is what they run out on 1988. Just to give you a rough idea what sort of thing they wore. I haven't got any of the shorts, but they were very short shorts.
Yeah.
And if you ever look at any old England footage, they always wear really short shorts. Yeah. So, and these were the hats and things that all the supporters wore when we were on the coach. Just to give you a rough idea, this was actually the bag. I think this is from, I think that might be from 82. No, yes, it is from 82. That's the bag that my dad ran out with when he had his sponge and everything in at Wembley.
What's the social life like at Enfield Football Club?
Well, years ago, they had a very, very good social club because they had a very nice clubhouse, and one of the chairmen, I can't remember dates, built a place called the Starlight Rooms, which was like a nightclub at the side, and the social life was very, very good.
Were there any other girls playing football?
I mean, girls' football is something that happened sort of in recent years. You know, you didn't really have girls playing football then. It was, you know.
But was there any players on the team that like inspired you to maybe play football for a little bit? Or like that inspired you that they were good at football?
I was a bit of a watcher and not a doer. But yeah, I did have a favourite player. He lives locally, Stevie King. He was with the club for many years. And I'm still friends with him now.
What does Enfield Football Club mean to you?
Well, it meant an awful lot to my father, and it was part of the community, and it's always been part of our life, really, and we're very lucky we've made a lot of friends through it.
And you said that like you was a watcher, but what was like the best match you've ever saw? Which one would replay?
Oh gosh, now you're asking me. Well, probably the Wembley games.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What, 82? 1982?
82 and 88. Yeah, they were good games. And also we had now I can't tell you the date of it, but we had a very, very good run in the FA Cup, and we played at Tottenham Hotspur ground at White Hart Lane. That was a very, very big occasion.
Yeah.